时开始，好不好？7点钟，对不起。好，各位台商会的先进，各位理事，各位线上的好朋友们，大家好，大家晚安。小弟是刘志强，现任北德州歌林郡台湾商会的辅导会长。今天感谢大家抽空来参加我们北德州歌林郡台湾商会与金城银行共同举办的社区财务讲座。这次讲座我们是采用实体与线上方式同时进行。在讲座结束之后，我们会有准备8个有奖问答，答对的来宾每位可以获得由金城银行吴董事长所提供的50元的红包。所以说，请大家用心的聆听，我们今天晚上的讲座会非常精彩。首先，我们要请今天晚上的贵宾致辞。第一位，我们请我们中华民国驻休斯顿台北经济文化办事处经济组组长倪伯嘉博士为我们讲几句话。我们请倪博士。
好，各位听众大家好。那以下这个我小弟我这边准备是一个英文的致辞，那我接下来就用英文发言。TCCNA President Tom Wu, Golden Bank Chairman Kenneth Wu, NTCC DCC President Nancy Lu, the four speakers of tonight's presentation, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon and good evening. I'm Fu Jianing. It's my honor and pleasure to be on behalf of Director General Robert Luo of Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in Houston to join the financial seminar organized by Golden Bank. DG Luo is invited to a diplomatic event in Japanese consulate tonight and asked me to convey his full support to our professional discussion. As the new arrival economic director in TECO Houston, firstly, I would like to thank Golden Bank organizing the very update risk perspective analysis and banking service information to our funds in Texas, California, and online. Secondly, as well as we all know in economic theory, more information we have, less uncertainty we suffer, and operating business easier. This is a good thing if more financial and business exchange we have in community. More understanding to the inflation and the rapid changing in capital markets we obtain. I just learned from President Nancy Lu about Chairman Kenneth Wu's of Golden Bank received full support from TCCNA members to be the next president. I would like to, on behalf of Taiwan Ministry of Economic Affairs, as well as TECO Houston, to express our congratulations to Mr. Wu. Mr. Wu received me and my colleagues last week and shared valuable suggestions to our future work. Based on our in-person exchange, I have the full confidence he will be a great successor to President Tom Wu. I just arrived in Houston about 1 month ago, and I'm planning to visit Dallas in the very short near future. My task here is enhancing the cooperation between Southern USA and Taiwan, from SME trade, investment, industry, to finance. Your advice and encouragement will be important to tighten the bilateral linkage between the two partner countries. Last but not the least, I look forward to working with many of our friends tonight in the next 4 to 6 years. Thank you.
好，我们非常感谢倪组长。倪组长这一次刚刚派到休斯顿台北经济文化办事处担任经济组组长。我们也希望你在这里的这个所有的一些业务上面各方面，我们都能够积极跟你配合，也希望你这个往后的业务一路都很顺利。我们给他一个热烈掌声，好不好？我们欢迎倪组长。
谢谢刘会长。
好，下一位我们请北美洲台湾商会联合总会总会长吴东升总会长为我们致辞。我们有请吴东升总会长。吴总会长，请问你能不能上线？
们主持人刘志强、Andy、刘会长你好。那我们还有世界台商会呢，我们的总会长候选人吴光宜董事长在线上哈。那卢一南会长还有我们米北家组长那非常高兴呢，我今天能受邀参加我们今天的这个由金城银行跟我们北德州歌林郡台湾商会所主办的商业及个人贷款必备攻略此次讲演包括的财务风险评估、个人财务分析等。当然，金城银行也为所有的会者提供他们的服务项目。在美国联准会升息不断，金融机构相对因应通膨风险所提供的产品，是值得你我们一起来关心。如何在经济震荡环境中寻求投资的商机呢？如何掌握荷包的每一份力量，不要误判各种财务危机而错失避险的机会。这个是我们今天议题最重要的核心资讯相信呢，与会者可以获得说价值连城的财务建议那我们今天安排的讲者呢，都是金融界的强悍深具丰富的经验包括我们这个 SVP-Derrick Nguyen还有我们 Commercial and FBA Law Professor Shiraz Nandwani， 还有一个 FVP Branch of Operation 的 Mr 这个Courtney Sitkowski sorry， 那还有 FVP Relation Manager Catherine Yang VP Community Relation Officer Terry。 在此呢，我感谢各位嘉宾来莅临也感谢我们北德州台湾商会精心策划与安排预祝今天的线上会议圆满成功，每一位与会者皆收获满满。谢谢各位。
好，我们非常感谢我们吴东升总会长在此我要特别邀请各位北美的理事们，在6月份的时候能够去 LA 参加我们北美洲台湾商会联合总会的年会，谢谢你们。接下来我们请我们的主办单位，也是我们金城银行的董事长吴光宜董事长为我们致辞。我们有请吴光宜董事长。吴光宜董事长，麻烦你 unmute。No, not yet.
No, I'm going to do a speech. 主持人听得见吗？
听得见，很好，谢谢。
听得见啊？
听得见。
OK， 我从头来。主持人，金门处的经济主任林国家组长，北美洲台湾商会联合总会吴东升总会长，北德州台湾商会卢一南会长，林志强荣誉会长。在现场和线上北美洲台湾商会的先进朋友们，大家晚安，大家好。我是金城银行董事长吴光宜，也是北美洲台湾商会联合总会总会长。很高兴今天呢，金城银行和北德州台湾商会共同举办财务讲座，希望在新的一年能提供大家对于风险管理、财务报表分析以及银行各项服务有进一步的了解。今天金城银行有许多位专业的经理参加讲座，欢迎各位随时提问。我在此向各位拜个晚年，祝福大家健康、阖家平安，谢谢。
好，我们非常感谢吴光宜董事长。吴光宜董事长在美南地区也是一位非常非常成功的企业家，我们请给他一个热烈掌声。我们谢谢他今天的支持。在此我也要请大家全力支持我们吴光宜董事长竞选下一届世界台湾商会联合总会的总会长。我们预祝吴光宜董事长能够高票当选下一届世界台湾商会联合总会的总会长。我们谢谢吴光宜董事长。好，谢谢。 接下来我们有请北德州歌林郡台湾商会会长卢英兰为我们支持，请卢会长。
Hello， 大家好 ，TECO 经济组倪国嘉博士，欢迎您来到德州，也希望您尽快能够见到您本人在达拉斯。金城银行的 Kenneth 吴光宜董事长您好，在此也先预祝您高票当选世界台湾商会的总会长，第31届的总会长。北美洲台湾商会联合总会吴东升总会长您好，他是我们北加地区商会的大家长，谢谢吴东升吴总会长百忙之中抽空为我们致辞。我们在座的线上还有芝加哥的会长向邦珍，还有洛杉矶台美协会刚上任的新会长 Amy 吴宣荣会长，谢谢您参加我们的讲座。感谢 Andy 刘志强辅导会长，以及连续3年担任我们财务长的 Jenny 尹珍怡担任今天的主持人。更特别感谢我们北德州青商会的 Terry 吴，他在 background 为我们做这个电脑的 support， 还有 UTD 台湾学生会的副会长 Jackie 郑伟谦也在现场。2023年新的会长 Michael 陈彦君也会过来，也担任我们讲座的义工。虽然在疫情的时候呢，商会常常利用 Zoom 或者 Webex 进行线上的讲座，但是我们也察觉到实际的互动非常重要，所以今天由金城银行与北德州歌林郡台湾商会共同举办的就是实体与线上的联合讲座。自从2022年3月到现在，贷款利率连续的飞涨之下，大家都在问，目前还可以买房子吗？而银行如何评估您个人或者是公司的贷款信用？接下来的讲座中都可以得到答案，请大家仔细听，更有金城银行董事长赞助的大红包等你拿，谢谢。
好，我们非常感谢卢会长。接下来我们要介绍我们金城银行的团队。首先，我们在此借这个机会，特别感谢金城银行 Plano 分行尹珍怡 Jenny 和她的团队秀莹及 Vincent。多年来，他们为商会担任义工，为我们的社区提供高品质的服务。我们请给他一个热烈掌声。我们谢谢金城银行，还有我们 Catherine 也是我们的名誉会长，谢谢他们。好，接下来我把下一段的节目交给我们 Jenny， 我们欢迎。
谢谢 Andy， 大家好，我是 Jenny， 目前担任金城银行 Plano 分行的经理。谢谢各位，我们的团队也很荣幸有这个机会为商会及社区提供服务，希望大家一如既往的继续支持我们银行，谢谢。现在我要介绍今晚第一位的讲员是金城银行的财务风险评估专家 Derrick。 Now I want to introduce the first speaker tonight is Golden Band Financial Risk Assessment Expert, Derrick Wayne. Derrick, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Derrick Wayne. I am the Corporate Risk Officer for Golden Bank. Let's talk about a risk perspective on the presentation. Let's turn to page 2. Page 2, please. Terry, can you turn to page 2, please? I'm going to move forward with this. So basically on page 2, this is the OCC monitoring condition of the federal banking that identified key risks in the falls of 2022 report. So who is the OCC? So basically they are called the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, and they supervise the national bank, and they regulate and supervise banking. So these are the key risk elements that they came out in the falls of 22. So basically they are looking at operation environment, U.S. economic growth slow in 2022. Talk about residential real estate, price growth slow, commercial real estate, trending key risks. These are rising interest rate, operation risk, compliant risk, credit quality remains sound with stress increasing. The third is talking about U.S. economic outlook. Let's turn to page 3. So what is a risk perspective? In banking, a risk perspective is referred to the approach of assessing and manage the various risks that banks are exposed to. Example, credit risk, market risk, operational risk, liquidity, and reputation risk. Page 4. So basically, the OCC kind of did evaluate on the U.S. economic, and they tell you why it was caused to grow in 2022. So basically, it's kind of lingering effect from the pandemic, the shock from Russia invasion of Ukraine. You continue to disrupt the U.S. economy in 2022. The real gross domestic product declined during the first 2 quarters of the year, which raised recession concern. Decline was, output was, however, mostly fall in the export in the first quarter of 2022, and it slowed down in the private inventory in the second quarter, both which are volatile component of GDP. Other important economic indicators such as payroll, industrial production, and manufacturing activity also slow expand in the first half of the year, while retail sales and real personal income mostly flat. Given the lack of sustained decline of these indicators, the National Bureau of Economic Research, the official arbiter of recession, has not yet determined a recession has begun. And the way the National Economic Research definitions is when you learn the U.S. has officially experienced 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth. Those are the ones that's how you declare it as a recession. So let's turn to page 5. Page 5 is a chart of the GDP. That's where you have a negative. If you look at back in 2009, and the reason why it was negative because you had a financial crisis that started in 2008. The financial crisis triggered by collapse of the U.S. housing market and subprime mortgage, which result in widespread crunch and a sharp decline in economic activity across many countries. In 2020, you take a look at that, that's due to COVID-19 pandemic, and it measured implemented by government contained its spread. In 2021, the GDP experienced a partial recovery followed by the sharp decline in 2023 and 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the recovery has been uneven cross-country and region with some of the country and sector continue to struggle. So let's turn to page 6, talk about unemployment. So basically, if you notice here, as of 2022, as of January 2023, the unemployment is about 3.5. It makes harder for a recession due to low unemployment. The economic generally consider an unemployment rate around 6 through 8% or higher as a sign of significant economic downturn. The retail industry is a crucial part of U.S. economy. It makes up 70% and 2/3 of U.S. economy. Page 7, let's talk about the inflation. If you notice the inflation in 2021, it was 7.0. In 2022, it went down to 6.5. There were several factors that contributed to the rise of the inflation in 2021. That's called the supply chain disruption. The COVID-19 led to disruption of the global supply chain, which caused a shortage of certain goods. And the second one is called increase in demand. That's the U.S. economy reopened the following pandemic-related shutdown. Consumers began to spend more, particularly on goods and services that's restricted during the pandemic. So the third one is called labor shortage. Many businesses have reported difficulty in finding workers, particularly in low-wage service. This has led to increase in competition for workers that result in a wage increase. And the last one is called fiscal stimulus. The U.S. government provides significant fiscal stimulus measure in response to the pandemic. such as direct payments to the individual and increased unemployment benefits in that 2021. So let's go to page 8, talk about residential real estate and price growth that was slow. The fewer home sales combined with greater volume of homes available for sales and demonstrate a weaker near-term housing demand. Because the homes are taking longer to sell, many builders are beginning to pull back, which homes start to slow very level across the country in 2021. So let's talk about page 9, commercial real estate. So lately, you're looking at almost like the office sectors, and that's to face a challenge to adjust the new normal increase telework brought by the pandemic. While overall demanding for office space turned positive during the first half of the year. The office property in downtown urban districts are seeing more stress as property continue to lose tenant. This outlook is more like a very uncertain. Other sectors like commercial real estate continue to grow. The retail sector, driven by growth of consumer expenditure, saw vacancy fall during the first half of the year. Tenant demand for multifamily unit moderate in 2022 after the vacancy was pushed to lowest level and recorded in 2021, while multifamily vacancy rate moved higher in 2021 and 2022 as a result of new supply. Tenant and demand remain positive. So the robust leisure traveler helped support the hotel industry in 2022. Page 10, let's talk about the rise in interest rate. So basically on the rise in interest rate, what banks looking at, so the OCC is very concerned is the rising long-term rate has caused significant depreciation in investment portfolio market value. The Federal Reserve action to combat inflation has pushed the interest rate. The effective federal fund rate have increased to 425 basis points in 2022. So the Fed have raised 7 times in 2022. So basically, look at the history of the U.S. economy. So basically, in 1974, we raised interest rate 22 times. So the highest interest rate was back in 1980. That was December 19th. That was 21%. So the importance of the robust sweep scenario, sufficient stress and testing liquidity and interest rate management. So basically, especially given the rise interest rate quantitative tighten. So on the risk perspective for a rise in interest rates, so basically what the regulator is looking for, that we have to do some kind of a stress test for individual loans that we make to the customer. So let's talk about page 11, operational risk. So basically the operational risk is continued to elevate the cyber attack that's evolved and become more sophisticated and damaged. So these attacks continue to leverage from deficient email. So the bank continues to leverage new technology, innovative and service, further their digitalization effort and to meet evolving customers' demands and expectations. Innovation includes faster and real-time payment products, increased use of mobile and digital technology, and deliver financial service. And when they talk about third parties, that's continued to be an area to heighten, supervise, and focus. And this helps to safeguard against the disruption of critical activity from the cybersecurity. So page 12. A compliance risk. So basically, this is what the bank covered. So BSA, AML. So that's called Bank Secrecy Act and Anti-Money Laundering. So refer that. So basically, it's a procedure designed to prevent money laundering and finance of terrorism. So, and then the OFAC, that's called Foreign Asset Control, is an agency within the U.S. Department of the Treasury that administers and enforce economic sanction program against target foreign country, individual, organization, and entity. The consumer compliance, what that is a regulation and industry standard that govern how banks interact to their customer and treat them fairly and their rights are protected. So Community Reinvestment Act, that's the federal law that require banks to meet the credit need of their local community, including low and moderate income neighborhood. So fair lending is referred to ensure that all customers are treated fairly and equally when it comes to lending practice, regardless of their race, ethnicity, gender, age, religion, or other protected character. So, basically, fair lending laws is Equal Credit Opportunity and Fair Housing Act. Page 13, called the credit risk. So the credit risk is what the bank is called the asset quality. On the commercial credit risk is what we manage to practice are critical for bank and other financial institutions to maintain stable, safeguarding environment. These are more like commercial loan, commercial real estate, retail, hotels, also C&I loan too. So on retail credit, we're talking about individual, personal, family, or household. These are mortgage, HELOCs, or home improvement. So basically, you kind of keep up with the stress testing during the financial crisis. So basically, as part of the corporate risk officer, I stay current with the industry and development. So the next several pages, from page 14 to page 16, is where I attended Asian Real Estate Association luncheon back in January 2023 for the 2023 economic updated by Dr. Harold Hunt from Texas A&M Real Estate Research Center. A lot of banks here in Texas, we use this report from Dr. Hunt to kind of compare ourselves from the examiner and compare ourselves from the strategic planning that we need to do for the year. So basically, if you take a look at there, if you turn to page 14, so basically it talks about, okay, are we gonna be in recession or not in recession for 2023? According to the Wall Street Journal, there's a little bit of print. It's a forecast estimated about 61% probability of recession within the next 12 months. So, and then you ask yourself, when did the U.S. had a recession? So the last time we had it is back, it's called the Great Recession. That was 2007 and 2009. This was the most recent and severe recession the U.S. experienced. It caused by the collapse of the housing market, which result financial crisis throughout the global economy. So basically, what really happened in that year? So basically, how many U.S. banks fell in the Great Recession? So during the Great Recession, which lasts about from 2000, 2007, 2009, is that significant bank numbers in the United States fell. According to the FDIC, a total of 460 banks fell between 2008 and 2012. So the peak year that the bank fell was 2009, which was about 140 banks fell in 2009. That was the highest number of banks fell in a single year since the saving and loan crisis of the late 1980s and the early 1990s. So let's talk about page 15. So factually, it also, I'm kind of giving you guys the highlight. So what are the two ways that you increase the GDP? So you increase the population, that's where more baby and folks living here. It's allowed more immigration in other countries, which is faster but political charge, and increased productivity of existing workers. And that's where you improve the training, education, and retraining. So on page 16, and this is what the main thing that I'm going to show you guys is there's been a lot of economic guess and when the rate's going to be cut. So right now they're looking at starting probably sometime in 2023. So in the fourth quarter of this year, they're expecting probably about 31% believe the Fed's starting to cut, but majority everybody said 37% will be sometime in the first quarter of 2024. Next year for the rate start to cut. Now, on page 17, so basically the overall is on the U.S. economic outlook. So basically, the Fed is trying for a soft landing, but the general consensus, when is the recession might be happening, it'll be a mild recession. According to Dr. Hunt, he stated it'd be sometime in the late third quarter or the middle of fourth quarter. that the recession, but it'd be a mild recession. And also, you have to ask yourself a question, how many unknown ahead that will affect this economy? How fast, how long will the Fed raise the interest rate this year? How fast will they unload mortgage-backed security, further affect housing affordable? Will the worker keep demanding higher wage? Will business decide based on future business activity, they have too few, too many, or just enough workers? When will all the supply chains get revamped and back to normal? That's all I have on risk perspective. Please hold all your questions to the end of our presenter. So the next person I'd like to introduce is Shiraz. He is going to talk about financial statement analysis. So Shiraz.
You got it?
Yeah. So we'll talk today about the financial statement analysis. The main part of the analysis is basically assets, liabilities, income, and expenses. So when we talk about the financial statements, basically those are the things that is very important when we talk about getting the analysis of any financials when we are moving towards any proposal. So we'll talk about the assets first. Basically anything that has current or future economic value, that is an asset. And when we go about the liabilities, which is the next slide. So liabilities is something a person or company owes, usually a sum of money that needs to be paid sometime in future date. The income basically is a total amount that is earned by the business during a particular time, business or any individual. And based on the income, we figure out what is the capacity of that person or the company to pay off the loans or any amounts that is owed. When we talk about the expenses, which is the next slide, so the expense is the cost of operations that any company incurs to generate revenue. So not only the company, basically this is also true for a person like an individual who incur expenses during the day-to-day life. And when we talk about the personal financial statement, that is the next slide. So when we talk about the personal financial statement, basically these are the mutual parts of assets, liabilities, income and expenditure that a person can provide us so that we can figure out what is the net worth of an individual or the company. So when we, so the next slide please. And this is the business financial statement. Basically, right now we are just discussing what exactly these things are, and then after that we will discuss it in detail how these financial statements plays an important role while we take any financial decision during any analysis, credit analysis or underwriting or the approval process. So basically the business financial statements shows whatever a business is earning and what are their expenses are, what are their assets and what are the liabilities during the calendar year. Next slide please. So this is a format of personal financial statement that on the first page we see that there are assets on the left side and the liabilities on the right hand side, which clearly mentions that okay, how much is the asset a person is having and what are the liabilities there against, which plays a vital role in getting out their total net worth. So on the next few pages, we have all these schedules that are mentioned on this first page. Like if we go to the cash, schedule 1A is showing a certain amount and so on and so forth. These have the linkage. The Golden Bank has this format which is very easy for a customer to fill out. On the second and onward pages, they only fill the information which is automatically reflected on the first page. So next slide please. Okay, this is the source of cash. Basically, when we talk about the sources of cash or the uses of cash, those depends on the income which is generated during the course of that particular year and the expenses that that person is incurring, which bring out to the cash net worth of that particular person. Next slide, please. Okay, so these are the schedules that I was talking about. When we fill up these information over here, it automatically populates to the first page, making a comprehensive number over there that makes us like good number and good opportunity to see what exactly that person's net worth is based on their total detailed financial statement. Next slide, please. Next slide. So these are all the schedules that we fill to reflect it on the first page. Next slide, please. Next slide. And next slide. Next. So basically, we talked about the personal financial statement in the previous slides, and now we talk about the business financial statement. So business financial statement has again the four portion of it: assets, liabilities, income, and expenditure. So here there is a little bit difference like that occurs over here. Like when we see the current asset is showing as cash, inventory, and accounts receivable, and in long-term assets we are showing as machinery and equipment. So when we talk about the liabilities, it is clearly showing that current liabilities have the accounts payable in it and current portion of the long-term debt. When we talk about the long-term liabilities, it consists of any payment that is due by a particular company for more than a year's period. So it easily shows us that assets, total assets and total liabilities are there, against which we show that, okay, this is the net worth of a person that appears on the balance sheet. Next slide, please. This is the income statement of a particular any company, which easily shows that which is showing some line items that I have tried to put over here. There are a number of other line items that a company can use, but these are the maximum that I have put it over here. Like let's suppose accounting and legal, advertising, amortization, and other line items such as rent expenses, repairs and maintenance, that a company occurs as a operations expenses during the particular year. So by having assets, liabilities, income and expenditure in hand, we can just figure out how much is the net profit of that particular company, based on which we can find out the DSCR. Okay, so we just spoke about the financial statement. What is the requirement and why we need the financial statement of any company? So basically, to figure out whether any company or an individual has a capacity to go for a particular loan, we ask a person or a company to provide us with their personal financial statement, personal tax returns, business tax returns, and the affiliates tax returns, just to figure out that what is the strength of that company to go ahead and come with us to propose for any loan proposal. Let's suppose X amount is required. So we see based on those financial statement and the tax return, like what is the capacity of that particular person or an entity to go for this loan, and how they will be paying off this loan against those income that they are generating. So usually it is advisable to at least have 1.15 or 1.35% like times of a net worth or an income, which is very easy for them to pay off any loan if they want to go for any of the loans proposal with any bank. So these type of financial statements and tax returns are very crucial, and they play a vital role when any person or any company goes to the financial institution to take any sort of financial accommodation from them. So basically what happens sometimes, people have their own CPAs and own financials, like people in-house who prepares the financial statements for them. Sometimes they also go to the CPAs, which is usually in the case of a personal, like in a capacity, individual capacity, where they go to the CPAs who prepare the financial statements for them so that they can present it to the bank to get any financial accommodation. So that was all from my side, because this is a very like crucial and important portion of the loan, where any financial statements that plays a vital role in taking any decision for their bank. Thank you. So for as we have the time constraints, so all the question answer session will be at the end of the end, and there you have the opportunity to ask any questions, and we'll be there to respond to them. Thank you.
Now is our Dallas branch, Catherine Yang Catherine Yang is FVP Vice President. He will introduce our project. Thank you, Catherine.
金城银行在1985年于休斯顿创行，在过去30几年当中呢，我们始终是以企业、客户以及社区的永续发展作为目标。我们近几年呢，也获得了美国鲍尔财务公司的5星最高评级。金城银行呢，在2022年呢，我们不论在总资产、盈余、存款、贷款各项营业成果都有显著的增加，各项的比例呢，其实是高居于总行设在休斯顿的华资银行之冠。我们呢，在休斯顿除了总行以外呢，还有在哈维和 Sugar Lake 有分行，在达拉斯地区有 Richardson 跟 Plano 分行 ，Jenny 在 Plano 服务，我在 Richardson 分行。在南加州方面呢，我们有 Dustin、Alhambra、Rowland High 3个分行，还有 Irvine 贷款办公室。在北加州方面，我们有 Millbrae、Cupertino， 还有最新创行才开幕的 Fremont 分行。我们希望以现有的分行，还有未来更多的分行，能够衔接和串联德州和加州的业务，希望能将金城银行的服务网络拓展到更多的社区里面。那在银行的业务方面呢，我们有 commercial lending 和 retail banking。在 lending side 呢，我们有做equipment purchase， 还有 business acquisition。有关于地产方面呢，我们有做 shopping center、warehouse、office building， 然后 convenience store、gas station， 还有 hotel、motel、restaurant。我们也做 construction loan， 还有 SBA loan。在 retail banking 方面呢，我们有 personal 跟 commercial 方面的 checking account、savings account、money market、CD， 还有个人的退休账户。连带的服务呢，我们有 debit card、online banking、online bill pay、e-statement、wire transfer， 还有 cash management 以及treasury management 等等。我们金城银行呢是社区银行，具备更高的弹性和便利性。我们了解客户的需求，能够提供专业与客制化的服务。希望我们以过去30几年的银行经验，还有团队兢兢业业的态度，在不久的将来能够替大家服务。在此祝大家生意兴隆，事业蒸蒸日上，家庭幸福美满，健康快乐。谢谢。
今天晚上谢谢3位主讲员非常精彩而且非常详细的解说。在这边我们在下面的话，我们就要开始我们的quiz。那有8个习题，然后8个问题呢，有5个是现场的，3个是Zoom 的。那每一题呢，我们董事长有提供奖金50元的现金奖。那现在的话，我们开始。We thank you for all the speech, wonderful speech tonight. And now we just start the quiz. The first is Derrick. Will answer 2 of the question. Derrick?
Yes.
Could you please start the question? The Chris.
Q&A.
The Q&A.
I'm here.
Yeah. So, what's the first the question?
So my first question is, so what is the unemployment rate in 2022?
That's a hard one. Okay.
3.7.
Review your presentation.
Yeah.
That's it on
3.7.
there. And your hand up.
3.7.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Hang on.
Hang on.
We have too many hands up. Well, could you repeat the question again?
Can you repeat the question one more time, please? There are too many answers.
等一下啊。Okay. Now.
Terry,
Unemployment rate, right?
can you repeat the first question one more time?
What's the unemployment rate in 2022?
自爆了，不用讲了。
等一下，我们有人讲 you have to write down your numbers, okay?
好，你大声讲。3.5 is that correct?
That is very correct.
好了，一个$50。你的名字报一下。Okay, what is next question?
The next question, what is the inflation rate in 2021?
Inflation rate. Okay, the first one in the black jacket. 7%. Hold on. One by one. Okay, is 7%?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Another $50 goes to over there. Okay, who will have the next question? Okay, hold on 1 second.
I have the mic.
You have a microphone? Okay, go ahead.
So,
This is virtual one?
Yeah.
Not for the on the spot.
Virtual.
Okay, we need to
Have to see who raised the hand.
Who raised their hands first?
okay, so should I ask the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, go
What
ahead.
are the 4 important components of any financial statement?
赶快找。
It's very easy.
Okay, 小华。
That's a virtual.
No,
They give you the virtual.
Virtual, right?
Okay, who is on the Zoom?
Who's right hand?
Who raised the hand?
Me.
Me.
Okay.
尼博士应该会，尼博士应该会。
Expenses.
Yes.
Hold on.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
on the line, who has an answer for these questions? You got $50. Who has an answer, please? No one? 哦，倪博士，好像你要举手啊。
对。
If there is no answer, I can get it.
OK， 好，那我们开放给现场的这个来宾哈。Can you repeat the question again, please?
What are the 4 important components of any financial statement?
Okay, Carol.
Asset, liability.
Okay, hold on.
Asset, liability, income, cash, expenses.
Yes. Very good. Perfect.
哦，我们这个 Catherine 已经把这个现金都放在桌上给你们了哈。OK， 我们谢谢你，谢谢。OK, what is next question?
So my next question is, what is DSCR?
What is DSCR? DSCR.
It is a very important component when we do the underwriting or the financial analysis.
Okay, what is DSCR?
Can I answer for him?
No, we are not.
Can I give them a hint?
Very easy.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
Please.
Yeah. Let me spell it to you. BEBT.
BEBT.
And you guys can put the word together.
Yes.
BEBT COVERATE.
No.
And DSCR.
DSCR.
Okay, do you have an answer in this? No? Okay, no wonder we don't have an answer in here. Okay, how about we go to next question?
That was
Okay.
No.
Okay, anyone has the answer?
I have none.
You have answer.
So it is basically abbreviation of debt service coverage ratio.
Okay, repeat it again.
It is debt service coverage ratio.
Okay, how about, get one more question. Okay, virtual 没关系，等一下我们有一个我们商会的那个提案。Okay, go ahead.
What is mean by a net worth?
Okay. The gross liability subtract the capital. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, correct.
Can I take 50% commission? Okay, 莫锦强，谢谢我们莫锦强。Okay, so right now we have 2 questions already, 4 questions. Okay, next one, Catherine.
我讲中文哦，我的问题都在这里面。OK， 好，第一个问题呢，是我们在德州金城银行在德州有几个分行？在德州。
4个。
等一下，你叫了没有钱 ？OK， 举手，都不要讲，对，手放下来。
等一下，
我点到你举手，然后再讲答案，好不好？
我要帮忙看。
好，你再问一次问题。
金城银行在德州共有几个分行？有哪5个？答对了。
我再一遍，我要数到4个。OK， 好，
答对了。好，第2个问题呢，是我刚才提到的 commercial real estate lending， 我需要有人列举3项。
3项什么东西
？3项的 lending loan 有什么产品
？Hotel SBA 工厂。
你没有举手，你在那边。
Warehouse, restaurant, 然后 hotel, office building, shopping center.
好，我们有6个了哈。然后我们现在开放给这个线上的朋友哈。这2个问题，我们线上的朋友应该都会知道，任何一个人都能够回答哈。线上的朋友，那你把它弄一个，那你刚刚讲的。OK， 线上的朋友每一个人都能回答哈，这个大家要小心一点。节目这个答案非常简单哈。那个吴东升总会长还在哈。吴东升总会长。OK， 我请你们大家都 unmute 好不好 ？OK， 线上的每一位来宾，请你们 unmute， 要不然我听不到你们讲话。好，我的问题很简单哈，请问现任北美洲台湾商会联合总会的总会长是谁？
吴东升。
刚才谁叫吴东升的在线上的？哪一位叫的？哪一位？阿令叫的他？谁？
我听不到。
刚才谁叫吴东升的？
李强。
谁讲李强了？线上谁讲李强了？
李强 show your face。
海林，你说。
谁讲？李强，你讲的吗？李强是不是？
再讲一遍嘛。
是不是你讲的？吴东升啊？是不是？你讲的啊？
我有说。
你有说是吧 ？OK， 其他线上没有人有意见吧 ？OK， 好，那就李强了哈，寄50块支票给李强。我们李强人在台湾，也感谢他拨空参加我们的座谈哈。好，还有一个问题哈，也是线上的哦。我们北美洲台湾商会联合总会名誉总会长，也是金城银行董事长，叫什么名字？线上的。吴光仪谁讲的？阿令讲的是吧 ？OK， 好，阿令 ，OK， 各50块哈。那个 Jenny 要负责，一个寄到台湾，一个寄到我家。OK， 我们今天的这个讲座哈非常成功，我们也谢谢每一位来参加的我们的好朋友，我们的理事及顾问，特别感谢北美洲台湾商会联合总会吴东升总会长，还有我们金城银行董事长吴光仪，特别。